The Golden State Warriors are preparing for the biggest test of their NBA season thus far.
Are the Warriors' title's hopes over?
That the Warrior title hopes are done for this season, period.
I disagree with that. I disagree that it's done.
What does a ligament sprain in Steph Curry's left foot signify for the Golden State Warriors in the Western Conference race for playoff seeding? Curry's injury, which occurred during Wednesday's loss to the Boston Celtics, will be re-evaluated in 2 weeks, the Warriors said on Friday, while ESPN's Woj stated that the Golden State organization is optimistic about Curry's chance to return before the start of the playoffs. The Warriors will nevertheless be down to their final 5 regular season games by the time Steph is re-evaluated, however. With Golden State engaged in a tight race for one of the Western Conference's top seeds, Curry's absence may be the determining factor in whether the Warriors earn home court advantage in the second round of the rapidly approaching, might I add, postseason. What's worse is a slump while Steph is sidelined could potentially cause the Dubs to fall out of the top 3 seeds, which would most likely mean facing the Western Conference leading Phoenix Suns in the second rather than the third round of the playoffs. A scenario that the contending Dubs would most likely, or most certainly prefer the latter part of. The Warriors have not been able to have their championship-winning core together for almost 2.5 years now, as it's no secret that Splash brother Klay Thompson was sidelined with multiple major injuries during that time frame. What makes things even more frustrating for the Dubs is that Steph's injury happened right as the Warriors were finally prepared to reintroduce Draymond Green back into the lineup. By the way, I did just notice that only about 5.2% of you that are actually watching this video right now are subscribed to the channel, so if you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button. It really does make a world of difference, and smash that like button while you're at it, so that this video can get to the right sets of eyes. The 3 main players from Golden State's 3 championships have combined for a measly 11 minutes this season, and this was according to NBA advanced stats. And not to mention now it's clearly a very low probability that this total will see any kind of significant climb before the playoffs. Now without key cog and defensive anchor Draymond Green in the lineup, the Warriors did finish 17-13, following a blistering 29-9 start, slipping behind the Memphis Grizzlies in the Western Conference standings since they plummeted while Draymond was out. Had the Warriors been healthy, however, their drastic fall from the top 3 would most likely not have happened if we're being honest here. But to their misfortune, the Dubs are preparing to play short-handed basketball once again, and this time without their best player. And as instrumental as Green has been helping the Warriors achieve their potential, Curry has been the engine that drives this team. And Golden State is now 2-4 with a minus 7.3 differential in the 6 games that Curry has missed this season. And this is even worse than last season when the Warriors finished 2-7 without Curry, posting a minus 13 differential during that time frame. Now of course the way things are going to play out for the remainder of the season for the Warriors, at least in terms of conference seeding, will heavily depend on how much time Steph is actually going to miss. A longer absence without Curry or a few losses to lottery-bound opponents will force the Warriors to have to worry about teams that are chasing them in the standings. The Jazz and the Mavericks right now are 3.5 games behind them, and right now just 3 losses separate these teams from catching the Warriors courtesy of the head-to-head matchup. And Utah may have a better chance of moving up at this point because Curry's not going to be playing in the next game that they play, and the Jazz will have a chance to tie their season series at 2-2. As the Northwest Division champions, Utah would furthermore hold an advantage in a tiebreaker, if it were to come down to it. The Mavs also have the upper hand in the tiebreaker, by the way, as they have won 3 of 4 games against the Dubs this season. Now Golden State still has a good chance of retaining a top 3 seed with their current cushion in the standings, as it's difficult for teams to gain 3.5 games of ground in a 12-game span, if we're being honest here. Now if we look at ESPN's Basketball Power Index predictions, they foresee a Warriors season with an average of 3 victories over the Mavericks, Jazz, and the Nuggets respectively. Now when compared to say 538's projections, who are a bit more cautious with their predictions, they have Golden State at 2 wins ahead of these other teams on average. Now despite these predictions from what are widely known as very reliable NBA sources, it's important to remember that placing too much hope in such projections is similar to gambling, and winning is not a guarantee, whether the odds slightly tip in your favor or not. The next several weeks for the Warriors may be uncomfortable as a result of Curry's injury, but perhaps with the resurgence from Jordan Poole, who seems to fare much better as a starter rather than a bench player, may soften the blow the team has endured as a result of Curry's sidelining. And how prepared the young and, might I add, highly capable sniper, when he's on his game, is for this will have a far-reaching impact, a ripple effect, that will stretch even beyond the Warriors' playoff seeding this spring. The start so far for Poole while Curry's been down has been promising, even though it is unfortunate that his team's 4-game winning streak did come to an end in his last game. After Curry went down with that injury, it was a huge positive to see the Dubs maintain their optimistic attitude and competitive spirit throughout the game. Golden State scored 37 points in the third quarter, after holding Boston to 32 points in the opening 2 quarters. And Poole had a huge hand in this, with 19 points at the half. And Celtics head coach Ime Udoka's response to the question of what changed at the break was to the point. Jordan Poole is on fire. When he's loosened up, he's one hell of a player who can get hot. Now, if that isn't a huge sign for optimism, Dubs Nation, then I don't know what is. Furthermore, despite the fact that Golden State has home court advantage in the series versus Memphis, sliding to 4th place would be a major concern. The Warriors would be in Phoenix's half of the bracket if they were to face Dallas or Utah in the first round of the playoffs. And I can bet you that the Dubs may prefer to postpone a battle with the league-leading Suns at this point as long as possible, at least until Curry returns from injury. A more tired Chris Paul-led Suns team would undoubtedly be preferable over a more fresher one in the second round. And as I just mentioned, prolonging this seemingly inevitable playoff matchup would provide Steph with more time to get his bearings again, as well as re-establish that deadly championship-level chemistry with Draymond and Klay. As a possible prelude to the Western Conference Finals, the Warriors' December series against the Suns featured 3 games against the top team in the NBA. And Golden State intends to keep that as the last memory of facing the Suns in a month for that many games, at least for now. Or should I say at least until it's absolutely necessary. I recently expanded my reach to cover other NBA teams that I love, and this of course includes the Warriors. So if y'all enjoyed this video and if you want to get a glimpse of the kind of content that I will be bringing to Dubs Nation from here on out, of course including pieces like this one, I made a take about what Robin Lopez would have done for the Dubs, who were heavily rumored to be a landing spot for the veteran big man not too long ago, just before the buyout deadline. It's a shorter take, but at least y'all can get a glimpse of what kind of Warriors rumor mill content y'all can expect from this channel. You really do not want to miss that one, especially if you enjoyed this one. And remember, if you do watch it, you'll be feeding a hungry African. Seriously. I'm African. And I get hungry a lot. Got some munchies?